Good afternoon, Thriving Therapist. How are you? I am back here every week for our weekly Thriving Therapist Facebook Live at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. And today, I just wanted to talk for a couple minutes about how important it is that we learn how to manage our boundaries as therapists. So, I wanted to talk about this because a lot of you are new to building a practice, but many of you already have a practice and you're trying to pivot, scale, or grow your business in different ways. So when your caseload is super full and you're trying to actually protect your time or reduce your caseload, that can be very challenging and difficult as much as it is to build your caseload. So there's kind of this sweet spot, right, between trying to get enough clients and trying not to have too many clients. And it's difficult. It's a difficult balance to maintain. I hear a lot of discussions on this page, and I've seen some on other therapist Facebook communities as well, about, how do you do that? How do you make sure that you're getting the clients and the caseload that you want and balance that? Because we never really know when a client is going to be complete with their work or when they're going to terminate services. And then we are not sure sometimes, should we have a wait list? Should we, hold people who are interested on a wait list, or should we refer them out? Should we build a group practice? When will we be able to service those clients? And so there's kind of always this little sweet spot balance that happens with therapists in private practice who are trying to understand, what is that magic kind of number, and how do we protect our time and our schedule? I think that the problem area is when we tend to try to over accommodate. We tend to try to overextend, and we accept more clients on our caseload than we can actually handle. Now, the problem with that is we start to book people at time slots when we're truly not available to them, and then we end up feeling really resentful of the work or of the clients. So you want to be very careful not to do that. One thing that I tell people when I'm doing coaching with therapists is you really do want to be sure that you know what your ideal hours and what your ideal schedule looks like. If you're super clear about that, then you won't have to feel guilty. You won't have to apologize. You won't have to justify what your schedule is. You just state what your time slots are in terms of availability. And if that works for this particular client, that's great. If it doesn't, there are lots and lots of other therapists out there who work at different times. So I think early on, it's important to remember that we don't need to, try to make sure every client that comes to us is getting the time slot that they want, but rather a time slot that is ideal for us. Because that's so important. When we are protecting our boundaries as therapists, we're showing up in our full capacity, and we're showing up in a way that makes the client feel that when they're in front of us, we are 100% engaged and available and present and ready to work with them, and that there's no question about that. So be sure that when you're establishing your caseload balance, that you're thinking about your ideal time, when you want to be working with clients, what is the sweet spot in terms of how many clients you want to work with each week, and know how you recharge. That's also super important. You want to really understand very thoroughly how you need to recharge, because if we don't pay attention to that, then we tend to be falling down kind of a slippery slope when it comes to managing our life balance and our availability emotionally and mentally and physically to our caseload and our clients. This is really hard work. We are faced with a lot of difficult sessions, and very complex cases come our way. So if you start to find that you are kind of hitting a wall, or you're feeling burned out, or you're feeling like, oh my gosh, that was way too many on one day and not enough on another, then there is a little bit of juggling in your schedule that you need to do to make sure that each day feels like a pretty good sweet spot for how many clients are just right for you. I know early on when I was trying to reduce my caseload and try to, have more availability to do other things in my practice and my business, I had to time block the days and just block them out on my calendar so that I wouldn't schedule, because I would go through my calendar and offer those slots, and then I'd forget, oh, you're trying to take Mondays off or whatever it was. So time blocking kind of helps you prepare to say, nope, that day is already full. And, protecting your boundaries is also important when you think about protecting your personal information. Your clients don't have to know that you're taking that day off. They just know that it's not available. So it's perfectly fine for you to just say, that day is already full, or this is what I do have available. So I think it's important when we think about boundaries that we're not only thinking about time and schedule, but we're thinking about whether or not we need to personally disclose things to our clients or not. You're not obligated to do that. You can make that judgment call based on your rapport with your clients or what the situation is. But if you need time off for, personal reasons or health reasons or bereavement or just mental health day, you're entitled to do that too. So protecting your boundaries as a therapist is another great way to make sure that we thrive as therapists. And I thought I would just come in here real quick today to give you guys a couple little tips on that. So let me know if you have questions on that or what tends to work for you in terms of protecting your timeline, filling your caseload, figuring out what your hours of operation need to be, and have you been pushed by clients to adapt to a different time slot that's more convenient for them than it is for you, and how did you handle that? I would love to hear more about how you handle that situation. All right, you guys, have a great afternoon, and I will be back in here again next week on Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific, giving you a few little tips on how we can thrive as therapists. Talk to you soon. Have a good week.